and thanks for watching this message video. My name is Ethan King. Today I'll be talking about what does the Bible say about being a godly child / sibling. And the main question I'll be looking to answer is, how can children of God be honorable? I'll be summarizing my topic in 3 points. Children of God can be honorable by being attentive, obedient, and loving. Before I go into depth on this question, I want to explain the origin of this question. All followers of God were given a command, or more likely, 10 commandments. Here they are. Exodus 20, 1 through 17. Then God gave the people all these instructions. I am the Lord your God, who rescued you from the land of Egypt, the place of your slavery. You must not have any other god but me. You must not make for yourself an idol of any kind or an image of anything in the heavens or on the earth or in the sea. You must not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God who will not tolerate your affection for any other gods. I lay the sins of the parents upon their children. The entire family is affected, even children in the 3rd and 4th generations of those who reject me. But I lavish unfailing love for 1,000 generations on those who love me and obey my commands. You must not misuse the name of the Lord your God. The Lord will not let you go unpunished if you misuse his name. Remember to observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath day of rest dedicated to the Lord your God. On that day, no one in your household may do any work. This includes you, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, your livestock, and any foreigners living among you. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and everything in them. But on the 7th day he rested. That is why the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart as holy. Honor your father and mother. Then you will live a long, full life in the land the Lord your God is giving you. You must not murder. You must not commit adultery. You must not steal. You must not testify falsely against your neighbor. You must not covet your neighbor's house. You must not covet your neighbor's wife, male or female servant, ox or donkey, or anything else that belongs to your neighbor. While all these commands are given to all followers of God, I want to focus specifically on the 5th commandment, honor your father and mother. This commandment was given specifically to children, and it is the only commandment of its kind, for it is the only commandment given with a specific reward for its action. The first way we're going to go into this is by looking at how children of God need to be attentive or listen to their parents. Let's look at what we're told in the book of Proverbs. Proverbs 1, 8 through 10, 15 through 18. My child, listen when your father corrects you. Don't neglect your mother's instruction. What you learn from them will crown you with grace and be a chain of honor around your neck. My children, if sinners entice you, turn your back on them. My child, don't go along with them. Stay far away from their paths. They rush to commit evil deeds. They hurry to commit murder. If a bird sees a trap being set, it knows to stay away. But these people set an ambush for themselves. They are trying to get themselves killed. We need to listen to our parents as children because they have experience and knowledge they wish to pass on to us, because a good parent has the best interest of their child at heart. Now, this applies not only to just children, but also to adults. They also have a father, a heavenly father, who has our best interest at heart and has experience and knowledge he wishes to pass on to us. And it's not just excluded to a family environment. This also includes people in a work environment, like a boss or a peer. They also will have our best interest at heart and have experience and knowledge they wish to pass on to us. Now, listening alone is not good enough. In order for it to be honorable, we will also need to follow it immediately by obedience. For instance, let's look at what Paul wrote about this. Ephesians 6, 1 through 3. Children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord, for this is the right thing to do. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you, and you will have a long life on the earth. Obedience is a skill that we learn as a kid at a very early age. In fact, I remember hearing as a kid, often growing up, how do we obey? Right away, all the way, with a good attitude, every day. Obviously, that's easier said than done. As a kid, if I was asked to take out the trash, that was easy to obey. But if I was asked to take out the trash, then clean my room, then the bathroom, and then even more chores on top of that, that was a struggle. Parents give their children chores like this in order to teach them the value of responsibility. This leads ultimately onto the truth that our obedience in the small things will lead to obedience opportunities on a larger scale. And this is true for both kids and adults alike. For example, If an adult at their work does not do what they're supposed to do right away, all the way, what'll happen to them? Chances are they will end up losing that responsibility. All this to say, God is seeking to instill an attitude of obedience in people from childhood on into adulthood so that they will be responsible in all aspects. This reminds me of a quote by Jordan Peterson. All responsibility you abdicate will be taken up by tyrants. This quote means that people who are not willing to do their responsibility will have their responsibility taken by those who are willing, and sometimes the people who are willing will not be as loving. This brings me to my last point, that in order to be an honorable child or sibling, you must be loving. And this idea of being loving is best summarized by the golden rule. Matthew 7:12, do to others what you would like them to do to you. This is the essence of what is taught in the law and the prophets. Let's be honest, this golden rule idea is very difficult for siblings. I know growing up, my sister and I were constantly fighting about the smallest things, no matter how important they were. Growing up, my parents had the rule for us where whenever we had to split something as kids, one kid would split whatever it was, if it were a candy bar or a soda, and the other would choose. This is where I learned the idea of measure twice, cut once. But deep down inside of me, I was always wanting the entire candy bar or soda because I felt entitled to it. But we as Christians are called to share with others because that's the heart of the golden rule. Perhaps one of the most famous stories about this golden rule and the selfish entitlement between siblings is the story of the prodigal son or sons. Here's how it goes. Luke 15:11-31. A man had 2 sons. The younger son told his father, I want my share of your estate now, before you die. So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. A few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings and moved to a distant land, and there he wasted all his money in wild living. About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land, and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his fields to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him, but no one gave him anything. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, at home, even the hired servants had enough food to spare, and here I am dying of hunger. I will go home to my father and say, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant. So he returned home to his father. And while he was still a long way off, he saw his father coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son and embraced him and kissed him. His son said to him, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But his father said to the servants, Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet, and kill the calf we have been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found. So the party began. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. When he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house, and he asked one of the servants what was going on. Your brother is back, he was told, and your father has killed the fattened calf. We are celebrating because of his safe return. The older brother was angry and wouldn't go in. His father came out and begged, but he replied, All these years I've slaved for you and never once refused to do a single thing you told me to do. And in all that time, you never gave me even one young goat for a feast with my friends. Yet when this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf. His father said to him, Look, dear son, you have always stayed by me, and everything I have is yours. We had to celebrate this happy day, for your brother was dead and has come back to life. He was lost, but now he is found. Both boys felt entitled in their own way. Both had an attitude of selfishness rather than attentiveness, disobedience instead of obedience, and all around a lack of love. Another way of putting this is to say that they were filled with dishonor. They were dishonoring to their father, to their heavenly Father, to each other, and even to their own household. All around, what changed this in the end was the love of a great father. So, wrapping things up, we are called as Christians to listen to our Heavenly Father, to obey Him, and to be loving to Him, and also to everyone around us in our church.